My name's Steve, and this is Classified Captures. We got Bigfoot sightings, we got hauntings, we got AI Atlas. Imagine you're taking a simple walk and suddenly notice what looks like a headless man casually moving along the sidewalk in front of you. For a moment, your mind just freezes because nothing about that sight feels normal. Well, that's exactly what happened to the one who filmed this, who initially believed that was the case. In fact, we did too. Many pages where we saw the clip only had the first few seconds where the man is walking. We checked to see if it was edited or AI, and it's not. It wasn't until we found the original post that the whole clip that the illusion of the headless man broke. It was only someone with their head bent so far forward that the angle makes it disappear completely. Just perspective playing games with you, but in that brief moment before it all makes sense, it truly feels like you stepped into another reality. Angles can fool you in ways you never expect. Moving on, what if everything you thought you knew about the sun was only a tiny piece of the truth? What if the real picture looked nothing like the fiery ball we're taught in school? What you're looking at is a microscopic view of the sun captured through multiple lenses to reveal what some believe is its true form. Science teaches us that the sun is a massive sphere of energy filled with hot gases, plasma, and intense heat. That image is so familiar that most people never question it. But this footage looks nothing like that. It resembles something alive. On its surface, you can see these smoky shapes drifting in and out as if they're reacting to it. Naturally, this has the conspiracy community buzzing. People are beginning to wonder if the sun is exactly what we're taught it is. Maybe it's not just a glowing mass of fire. Maybe it's something far more complex. The way energy seems to spill outward and then pull back has sparked theories that there's a hidden mechanism at work. And this is where things take a turn. Some theorists believe the word solar or soul carries a deeper meaning, suggesting the sun might act as a soul eater, drawing in these strange moving forms. It sounds outrageous at first, but then again, how many wild ideas were ignored in the past, only for pieces of them to later prove true? So now the question, it becomes simple. Is the sun really what we were taught, or is there a part of the story we were never supposed to see? In Brazil, a couple took their baby for a simple baptism, the kind of ceremony every family goes through. But what happened during that moment has completely taken over conversations online, all because of what appears in the footage. The priest began pouring water from a jar onto the baby's head. Everything seems normal until you look closer at the water running down. As it flows across the baby's head and toward the chest, the water shapes itself into what looks like a rosary. It's not a loose pattern or a brief swirl, it forms the beads and even a small cross with a level of precision water should never have. People are stunned because you can clearly see the outline. Some believe it's a sign, a blessing, maybe even a message that this child carries something special. Others are confused, trying to understand how something so precise could happen naturally. To make things stranger, several people have tested the image with different tools and analysis programs, and according to the checks, there's no sign of AI or digital manipulation. So now the moment stands as it is, water forming a nearly perfect rosary during a baptism, with no clear explanation for how it happened. If you thought your favorite Campbell's chicken noodle soup was just soup, well, think again. Recently, a worker secretly recorded a conversation with the company's vice president, and what he said shocked everyone so much that the employee was fired for exposing it. Listen closely.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's so healthy. Now that I know what the in it, even in a can of soup, I look at it and we can eat bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer, do you?
The vice president revealed that the chicken in their canned soup is not always real. Some of it is 3D printed, and some is biologically engineered. When you consider the massive quantities of canned foods produced every day, it starts to make a disturbing kind of sense. There simply are not enough real chickens to meet the demand. What makes it even more unsettling is the way he spoke about it. He sounded almost disgusted, as if he'd been offered the food himself and refused to eat it. If the vice president of the company will not touch his own product, what does that mean for the rest of us? The implications are huge. If one major food company is doing this, how many others might be quietly following the same path? After hearing this, it's hard not to rethink what is actually in that comforting bowl of soup.
I don't buy Campbell's products barely anymore. It's so healthy. Now that I know what the in it. Even in a can of soup, I look at it and we can eat bioengineered meat. I don't want to eat a piece of chicken that came from a 3D printer, do you?
On November the 24th, 2025, a man was parked near a logging road when something strange caught his eye below the tree line. At first, he thought his imagination was playing tricks on him, but when he zoomed in, he saw a massive figure partially hidden beneath branches and leaves. Whatever it was big. This happened in Bella Bella, BC, a place where sightings of Bigfoot have been reported before. And looking at the footage, it's easy to see why some believe this could be it. There's a definite massive shape crouched under the trees. Others argue it might just be a bear tucked into the brush, yet the figure seems unusually upright, bulky in a way that doesn't feel natural, almost as if it's watching the man as he watches it. With the distance, shadows, and tree cover, nothing can be confirmed, leaving only speculation and wonder. The footage remains as mysterious as it is compelling, a moment that will have viewers questioning what really lurks in the forests of British Columbia. Imagine looking up at the sky and seeing it light up like daytime. Looks like an alien invasion, doesn't it? That is a regular sight for people in Texas, where rocket and missile launches happen almost every day. If you live far from the area, your first thought might be that it's an explosion or something dangerous, but locals already know the drill. They live near NASA facilities and one of the country's major launch stations. When a rocket goes up, residents know the time and expect the spectacle. And what a spectacle it is. In these clips, you can see the sky brighten, glowing with a brilliance that's almost surreal. For people living nearby, it's just another Tuesday night, but for the rest of us, it looks like a spectacular, like the sky itself has caught fire.
Hot dog.
This photo is said to show Three-Eye Atlas somewhere in our own solar system, but what we're seeing here is far from your typical comet. Its shape is unusual, almost spherical, with intricate lines, patterns, and a core that looks entirely artificial. People online are stunned because it doesn't resemble a chunk of rock or ice. Instead, it has a symmetry and detail that makes it look far more like a Death Star than a comet. Some are even speculating that it could be a craft, something capable of appearing, disappearing, or even cloaking itself in the atmosphere. The more you look, the less it seems like a natural object, and the more it looks like it's been built, designed, and it's intentional. Personally, I'm leaning toward the idea that this might actually be a ship. We've seen a lot of strange sounds from all over the world, from mysterious noises from the woods, unexplained hums from the sky, and what many people now call skyquakes. But this new one, recorded by a man in Mexico, might be one of the strangest yet. Listen closely. At first, it almost sounds like someone is choking or gasping, but there's also a sharp, barking quality to it. It's loud, so loud that the sound echoes across the entire area. What makes it even creepier is that you cannot tell where it's coming from. It doesn't sound like it's in the woods, but it also doesn't seem to be above the trees. It almost feels like it's coming from everywhere at once. No one could identify the direction or figure out what made it. It doesn't match any known forest or creature or sky phenomenon. The truth is, we've no explanation for this sound, and that is what makes it so chilling. This one might unlock a whole new fear. A woman was using a glass straw when she suddenly realized she'd swallowed something. When she pulled the straw out of her mouth, a large chunk had broken off. This was not a tiny shard, but a piece almost the size as the tip that goes into your mouth when drinking. As she stayed calm at first and waited it out at home, but then after burping, she noticed blood. She rushed to the hospital and was taken straight into emergency. Doctors put her under to search for the glass, but they couldn't find it anywhere. All they could do was send her home and tell her to wait until it came out. And that is terrifying. What if it was launched somewhere? What if it moved? What if it cut something internally? The unknown alone is enough to make anyone panic. Glass straws might look fancy and eco-friendly, but after this, they're not worth the risk. There are safer options like metal, silicone, or bamboo. Glass is beautiful, but when it comes to your safety, it's just not worth it.
Don't use the glass straws. It's not worth it. Broke it. They had to put me to sleep to take it out. There, by the time they got me to endo, they couldn't find it. Okay, I'm home from the hospital, and I want to just give a little recap of what happened. I was drinking my water with a glass straw, and I swallowed something, and I was like, what was that? And I looked at the straw, and there was a shard about that big missing. And then about 2 hours later, I burped really big, and my mouth had blood in it. And so I went to the emergency room. Doctor spoke to the gastro. He said you need to expedite CAT scan immediately and get her going. He saw a piece in my stomach. So they rushed me to put me to sleep and put the tube down my throat to try to get it. But by the time from the CAT scan to me finally getting into the room for that procedure, it had already left my stomach. So I got a piece of glass floating around in my intestines, which is awesome. They said to watch for bleeding over the next 2 days, and to check my poop, and hopefully it just passes easily. They said because it already went through my esophagus and my stomach that, most likely it'll be fine. Do not buy these straws.
Curiosity is natural. We all have it, but sometimes it crosses a line, and that's exactly what happened to this woman who shared a story on TikTok. Back in middle school, she and her friends performed a few rituals they found online. They thought it was just a joke, something silly to pass the time. Nothing happened immediately, so they forgot about it and moved on. But then things started changing in her home. Objects began falling off of shelves on their own. Items moved across the room with no one touching them. She even captured footage of something dropping straight to the floor, completely untouched. Then one day, she found a bloody handprint on the stone outside her home, right near the corner. No explanation, just there. Did she invite something in? Or did her curiosity open a door she was not ready for? Either way, something answered. So be careful out there. Curiosity is fine, but when it comes to rituals, spiritual practices, or anything beyond our understanding, leave it alone. Some things are better left untouched. This next clip shows something different from the usual orb sightings. What you're seeing here is an orb shooting straight through a water tower, not around it, through it. And as it passes right through the metal tank, water bursts out from the impact point. We've covered plenty of orb activity on this channel, but this one stands apart. The footage is in black and white, and the orb moves with a smoothness that almost feels deliberate, like it knows exactly where it's going. Now, naturally, people are divided on this. Some viewers say this is one of the most convincing orb captures they've ever seen. Others are convinced it's AI generated, and honestly, you can understand why they think that. But here's the question that matters. If this is real, what kind of object passes through solid metal without slowing down? What kind of technology or entity can pierce through a structure and leave it intact on the other side? That's not something we see in nature, and it's definitely not something our current technology can do. Chinese traditional medicine has some of the most interesting methods you'll ever see, and this video is a perfect example. In a rural market in China, a group of older men are sitting calmly around a table with tubes connected to small boxes. At the end of each tube is an eyewear piece fitted over their eyes. Watch closely, and you'll see steam slowly filling the tubes, creating what looks like an eye sauna. This is an old traditional eye therapy that locals call the eye opener. It's nothing extreme or dangerous. The steam is infused with herbs, especially chrysanthemums, which are known in Chinese medicine for helping with eye strain, inflammation, and overall eye health. Most of the older folks in this rural town come here whenever their eyes feel tight or weak. It might look unusual if you're seeing it for the first time, but for them, it's as normal as getting a massage. And honestly, with how soothing it looks, you might even want to try it yourself if you ever visit China. America is one of the most powerful countries in the world, and historically, any attack on American forces has been met with serious consequences. But back in 1967, something very strange happened that broke that pattern. During the Six-Day War, a U.S. spy ship called the USS Liberty was positioned in international waters gathering intelligence near Egyptian territory. Standard wartime operations, but while the ship was stationed there, it was spotted by Israeli forces who mistook it for an enemy vessel and opened fire. What followed was devastating. Missiles, torpedoes, and aerial attacks pounded the ship for over an hour. When the smoke cleared, 34 U.S. servicemen were dead and over 170 were wounded. It was one of the deadliest attacks on a U.S. naval vessel in peacetime. And here's where it gets strange. After discovering the ship was American, Israel called it a tragic case of mistaken identity, and the US accepted that explanation. No retaliation, no major consequences, just an official apology and compensation years later. Now, the relationship between the US and Israel has always been complex, built on strategic and political ties that go beyond typical alliances, and even today you can still see those complicated dynamics at play. We've all heard of Easter Island, that mysterious island sitting alone in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. It's famous for those massive stone heads rising out of the ground, the Maui statues. But here's what people don't always realize. Most of these statues have full bodies buried deep beneath the earth. There are countless theories surrounding this island, but one of the most intriguing connects it to an ancient great flood. The story goes that thousands of years ago, water rose so dramatically that it reshaped the entire world. Lands vanished beneath the waves, and Easter Island became completely isolated from the mainland. If a flood like this truly happened on a global scale, think about what that means. How much of our past was washed away? How many chapters of human history were erased before we ever had a chance to record them? And could Easter Island be one of the few surviving pieces of evidence hinting at a world that existed long before anything in our history books?
Maybe this has got something to do with the books of Enoch again, the Great Flood, Moses, the whole thing. Who the hell knows, huh?
The NFL season is here, and have you noticed the security measures they're putting in place this time? We're talking about something unprecedented at an NFL game. Anti-terrorist forces positioned around the stadium for the first time ever. This is supposed to be a fun game, right? So why are there snipers, tactical units, and full anti-terror personnel stationed all around the field? That's not normal for sporting events, even major ones. What exactly are they anticipating? What kind of threat level warrants this kind of response? And here's where it gets interesting. When you look at how major operations work, sometimes large visible deployments like this serve as a distraction while something else is happening that we're not paying attention to. So the question is, should we be watching for something else entirely?
Dead center. One more.
Not everyone is religious or Christian, but one thing we can't deny is that the Christian faith has a long, deep history. And maybe it's fair to say you shouldn't mess with things you don't fully understand. In this clip, a woman stands by her window and decides to call out to God, asking him to give her a sign. She asks for thunder and lightning. She waits, but nothing happens. So she gets frustrated and curses, and the moment those words leave her mouth, a massive crack of thunder and lightning hits so hard it shocks her right back into silence. Now, if you've ever read the Bible, there are countless stories of people who mocked or challenged God, and things did not end well for them. Even in modern times, we've heard stories of individuals who said disrespectful things about God and soon after faced something tragic or unexplainable. The message here is simple. If you don't understand something, or you're not sure what you're invoking, don't mock it. Some things are better left respected, or at least left alone.
God, if you hear me, strike lightning again! In the name of the Holy Spirit! I know you hear me! God! Hello? Why aren't you talking back to me? This is bullshit.
Take a look at this massive tree. At first glance, it almost looks like a mountain, but it's actually a tree. And it might look familiar because we've all seen that viral clip from Ghana where locals punctured a huge tree and water started pouring out like a fountain. Well, something similar was captured in North Carolina. Someone cut into the root of a giant tree, and again, fresh water started gushing out. Now, when you look at ancient depictions of trees, you'll notice something interesting. Enormous trunks, roots thicker than houses, and drawings showing water flowing from them like natural springs, and this tree we're looking at now fits that same imagery. Did ancient trees actually harbor or produce water? Because on this channel, well, we've seen plenty of clips like this, and considering how different our environment is today, with all the chemicals, pollution, and changes to our ecosystem, you have to wonder if trees long ago had abilities or functions we barely understand now. Maybe what we're seeing today are just fragments of something trees were fully capable of in the ancient world. lot of millionaires and scientists are obsessed with traveling to Mars because apparently Mars is the next option if or when the world finally comes to an end. And because of that obsession, we've watched billionaires pour money into new technology that can get humans to Mars in the shortest possible time. Now, there's been a major breakthrough coming out of the UK. A startup company has built a new rocket called the Sandbird, and this thing can reportedly reach 329,000 miles per hour. At that speed, the travel time to Mars drops to just 30 days, cutting the journey almost in half. That alone is an incredible achievement for space travel. The rocket reportedly costs around $70 billion, and by 2027, the company plans to roll it out for actual missions. So here's the question. With rockets this fast and this expensive, are they trying to build a backup planet for humanity, or are they building a getaway plan for the richest people on Earth? What do you think about this new push to reach Mars in just 30 days? Between the 22nd and 24th of November, people all around the world started capturing some very odd sightings in the sky. Now, the first two clips look almost identical, yet they're filmed from completely different locations. In the first clip, you can see this bright white light hiding behind the clouds. It just sits there with this intense glow. But after a few seconds, the light suddenly disappears. Then in the second clip, we see another light in the night sky. Same style, same eerie glow, except this one doesn't vanish. It stays there unmoving. And then there's the third footage. This one is different. Instead of a white glow, the entire sky lights up with a blue hue. And again, the source of the light appears to be behind the clouds. We have no clear explanation for any of this. Some people believe that they're just aircraft lights or reflections, but others, especially in the conspiracy community, think there's something more going on. Crafts hiding behind cloud cover, atmospheric anomalies, or maybe something we haven't been told about yet. What do you think these lights are? Ethiopia is facing unexpected turmoil right now, and it's happening just as people are preparing for the holidays, hoping for peace and a normal Christmas season. But on November the 23rd, something no one saw coming happened. The Haile Gubby volcano erupted. This volcano hasn't shown any signs of activity in thousands of years. In fact, there are no recorded eruptions in all of human history, which is why scientists estimate its last major activity may have been more than 12,000 years ago. So you can only imagine the shock when it suddenly awakened without warning. And even with all the modern monitoring equipment we have today, there were no detectable signs until it happened. The blast sent a massive plume of ash into the sky, rising up to about 40,000 feet. Winds carried the ash far beyond Ethiopia, drifting across the Red Sea toward countries like Yemen and Oman. Local officials say the eruption threatens grazing lands and livestock, with many families relying on survival. While there are no confirmed casualties, communities are dealing with heavy ashfall, poor air quality, and major disruptions to daily life. Right now, everyone's watching closely, because if Haile Gubby woke up after 12,000 years of silence, well, who knows what else could be next? According to history, the Nazis lost World War II when Hitler was defeated. But there's a growing theory suggesting something far stranger happened, and this theory comes from Ishmael Perez, who claims the Nazis didn't actually lose the war. According to him, the Nazis broke away using advanced technology, and instead of conquering Europe, they went on to conquer intergalactic territory. Yes, actual colonies out in space. He says German scientists didn't vanish after the war for no reason. They allegedly used alien technology to build devices like Die Glocke and early flying saucers. And by 1945, they supposedly had functional UFOs. Now remember, in 1947, Admiral Byrd led Operation High Jump to Antarctica, supposedly to wipe out surviving Nazis. But the story goes that when the troops arrived, they were attacked by unidentified flying craft and forced to retreat. According to Ishmael, the Nazis didn't stop there. They established bases across the solar system, including a major one on the moon known as the Lunar Operations Command. And he claims they built a secret space army, conquering planets and expanding their empire far beyond Earth. These are bold, intense claims, but this theory is gaining traction online, especially among people who already question the official version of history. So what about you? Have you ever heard this theory before, and do you think there's any truth to it, or is it just another wild conspiracy?
Maybe all the Nazis are now behind the ice wall. How's about that, huh? Some great big ice wall with all the Nazis there, all with little tiny mustaches and worshipping that asshole even though he's dead. Stranger things could happen.
Apart from vegan options, ground beef is one of the most common ingredients in kitchens everywhere. People love hamburgers, tacos, and meat sauces, especially in the United States where it's eaten nearly every day. But recent information is raising some concerns. Originally, ground beef came from a single cow. You knew exactly where it came from because it was one animal ground up for your meal, but production has changed. Today's facilities source meat from multiple animals, farms, and environments, grinding it all together. It's not just beef, but any parts they decide to include, and that's where the risk comes in. With meat from one cow, any bacteria, chemicals, or contaminants are limited to that single animal. When you mix meat from multiple unknown sources, the risks multiply. You're combining different bacteria, chemicals, and pathogens all in one package. With these changes in food production, well, it raises a serious question. Is it still safe to buy ground beef, or is it time to grind your own meat at home to know exactly what's going into your food? I have some interesting footage that was recently shared by mainstream media. It shows a shop where a figure is seen running through the aisles. You can see this small figure moving quickly behind the racks, almost darting in and out of view. Initially, they called it a Dwende, a mythical creature from Latin American folklore. But there's a story attached to this footage claiming the figure is actually the ghost of a little girl who died from electrocution in the store. According to the narrative, this isn't just any spirit, but the spirit of a child still lingering in the shop where she died. However, it turns out that the entire story behind this footage was fabricated. The backstory, the connection to the little girl, all of it was made up to make the clip go viral. So what are we really seeing here? Is it just a clever hoax, a child playing in the store, or something else entirely that got wrapped in a fake story for views?
I really miss home. I hate being here. Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we.
So this clip starts off casually with what looks like a serene and everyday scene. A man is on screen talking to his audience. A few seconds in and something unusual starts to happen. The sweater on his bed falls, but that's not so weird, right? After all, clothing can and actually does fall when not placed correctly. Either way, he gets distracted by it and turns around. Just as he's looking at it, something moves violently in his closet. After watching the clip, it just didn't add up, so I searched for the original post and discovered something. The man in the clip claims he was recording a vlog for his family back home while stationed in Iraq, expressing his love and longing for them when an eerie voice and his locker door slamming open abruptly left him terrified, prompting him to request a room change. In other words, he heard a voice there before the movements, which makes him believe there was a ghost there with him. Naturally, this has left the community divided. Some claim it has to be real, whereas others are skeptical, stating no true soldier would share the details of his assignment, let alone place something like this online. You've seen the clip. What do you guys also think?
Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we.
Remember the swamp creature mystery from earlier? Well, that's not the only swampy riddle I have for you today. Take a look at this one. What do you think this is? The first thing that came to mind when I saw this was Bugbeak. You know, the hippogriff from the Harry Potter series. After doing some reading, however, I discovered it might actually be a snapping turtle. In swamps, two primary types of snapping turtles can be found. This is the common snapping turtle, which is scientifically called Caldera serpentina, and the alligator snapping turtle, which is called Microchelys temnici. The common snapping turtle is widely distributed across North America and is adaptable to various freshwater habitats, including swamps. It has a rugged shell, a long tail, and a strong, aggressive bite. The alligator snapping turtle, native to the southeastern United States, is more specialized to swampy environments. It's one of the largest freshwater turtles in the world, characterized by its ridged shell, large head, and powerful jaws. This species uses a unique hunting strategy, luring prey with a worm-like appendage in its mouth. Both types of snapping turtles are opponents of swamp ecosystems, contributing to the control of aquatic prey populations and scavenging. Now, your quiz for the day. Which of these types is in the clip? I'll be marking your answers in the comments section. Now, if you grew up the way I did, I know when you hear these sounds, you know that's an ice cream truck out there. Yet for some weird and unknown reason, the individual who posted this clip is warning everyone to not let their kids out when they hear the sound after 8 p.m. The person insists whoever is in the truck isn't selling ice cream, which rubs me off the wrong way. First off, what is the person doing? Secondly, why will an ice cream truck be moving around at 8 p.m.? Without any more information, we can only speculate, but what do you guys think? The idea of living in a simulation is something that has intrigued humanity for years, and it's only gaining more traction. Recently, I came across a fascinating video on Instagram by Cult Daddy. In it, he delves into the story of Robert Monroe, a man whose experience might just challenge everything we believe about reality.
Do you welcome Robert Monroe? What is an out-of-body experience?
Well, an out-of-body experience is a state of being, a state of awareness, a state of action, separate and apart from the physical body. About 25% of the population throughout the world, I guess, has this spontaneously take place that they're aware of at least once in their lifetime.
Robert Monroe had incredible natural abilities to leave his body, to see things he shouldn't have seen. Long story short, Bob Monroe wanted to make sure that number one, he wasn't crazy, and number two, that his experiences were replicable by a scientific process.
Robert Monroe was an influential figure, widely known for his ability to astral project, which is essentially to leave his physical body and explore the world in a non-physical form. Through these experiences, Monroe reportedly uncovered insights that suggest our existence may not be as real as we think. He even provided explanations and accounts that point to the possibility that we're living in a simulated reality. In his writings and teachings, Monroe detailed what he encountered during his astral travels, dimensions beyond our own, beings with extraordinary capabilities, and most strikingly, the idea that our world could be an elaborate construct. This wasn't just a speculation. Monroe spent years refining his technique and documenting his findings, drawing both believers and skeptics. So what do you think? Could Monroe have truly tapped into something beyond, or is it just another theory about the nature of existence?
What happens?
What happens? Well, what happens is that you as an individual suddenly find yourself, for one reason or another, apart from your physical body, and yet you can think, you can be, you can act, but your physical body is in some other location. It may be only 2 inches away or 2,000 miles away.
Okay, this is Mako. Are you seeing this? I don't know what to do. If I push up the ass off, they're just going to shoot him down.
This footage, reportedly taken in Antarctica, has been labeled as forbidden and has sparked a wave of speculation. The video shows a fleet of disc-shaped UFOs flying in formation, heading toward a specific direction in the sky. The idea of Antarctica being a secret alien base has been a persistent theory in UFO lore. Supporters of this theory argue that the continent's remoteness, harsh climate, and restricted access make it an ideal location for extraterrestrial activity or covert operations. Does this footage lend credibility to those claims? What do you think?
Okay, this is Mako. Are you seeing this? I don't know what to do. If I push up the ass off, they're just going to shoot him down.
Now take a good look at this footage and tell me, could this possibly be real? A creature about the size of a baby was seen hopping on all fours like a frog, but this wasn't just any ordinary animal. No, this thing had a bizarre, almost human-like appearance except for its disturbing features. Its feet were clawed, its head misshapen, and from its mouth, long, sharp fangs protruded menacingly. What's even stranger? The face. It looked shockingly similar to that of an adult man. Some claim it's a hoax, while others insist it could be something far more sinister. But what do you think? Could this creature actually exist, or is it just another case of the internet playing tricks on us?
It's like shapeshifting. What the frick, Martin? You see it? I don't know what it is. I don't know.
A couple was parked out in the dark, enjoying the night sky, when something strange caught their eye in the distance. Floating up high, an odd object appeared, shifting shape continuously, almost as if it couldn't settle on one form. Is that a UFO, or perhaps something else entirely? The way it morphed from one shape to another left them completely mystified. They're convinced it's either alien or paranormal. Julius is also convinced that they either never left their room or heard of spiders. But what do you think?
It's like shapeshifting. What the frick, Martin? You see it? I don't know what it is. I don't know.
Supposedly the alien said, which I thought was interesting, was military people that had him ask, is your technology natural? It said everything is natural. Now, I don't know that I believe that totally, but everything has to come from one source, right? To a certain extent, even the devil came from God, right? Is technology a natural extension of humanity?
In an intriguing interview, Tony Merkels shared his experience interacting with an alien creature. During their conversation, he claims to have inquired about the source of their advanced technology. The response, according to him, was surprising. The alien explained that their technology was entirely natural, not built or engineered as humans understand it. Merkels then elaborated on the alien's perspective, suggesting that all humanoid beings, from Bigfoot to extraterrestrial entities, originate from the same source as humans. The difference, he claims, arises because these beings took different evolutionary or developmental paths. While humans pursued a path heavily reliant on technology, these beings chose an alternative, non-technological path. This theory is both fascinating and controversial. If true, it can imply a shared cosmic ancestry for various humanoid species, with a divergence being shaped by their environments, choices, or adaptations. The idea that Bigfoot and other cryptids are humanoid beings on a separate evolutionary trajectory adds an intriguing twist to the discussion. What do you think?
Supposedly the alien said, which I thought was interesting, was military people that had him ask, is your technology natural? It said everything is natural. Now, I don't know that I believe that totally, but everything has to come from one source, right? To a certain extent, even the devil came from God, right? Is technology a natural extension of humanity?
Over here, bro. Oh my god, bro.
Oh my god.
It hit over here, please, bro. It's behind the houses now.
A couple in Arizona was driving home late at night after an evening out when they noticed something unusual as they approached their driveway. Hovering above one of their neighbors' houses were two strange objects. The couple immediately began recording, capturing footage of the crafts. As you can see, these are not drones or helicopters. The objects are circular with lights glowing around their edges, hovering in the night sky. In the background, you can hear the couple reacting in shock and disbelief, their voices filled with awe and fear as they try to make sense of what they're seeing. What do you think these objects are? Could this really be a UFO?
Oh my god.
It hit over here, please, bro. It's behind the houses now.
A man was outside when he noticed this odd-looking cloud in the blue sky. A single, distinct cloud floating all on its own. What made it stand out wasn't just its isolated position, it was its uncanny shape. Some who saw it believed it looked just like the famous flying or Kintoan cloud from the Dragon Ball animation. Some also thought it looked like Casper the Ghost. I mean, I get where they're coming from. If you pay attention to the cloud, you'll also notice it move ever so slightly. See it? Clouds aren't supposed to move like that, or is it just me who isn't seeing the big picture here?
Las estrellas que brillan como tus ojitos viciosos.
Ay, amor, muchas gracias.
Amor, 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 amor. Es que hay algo ahí. Amor, no. No. Ay.
Here we have another mysterious piece of footage, this time featuring what is believed to be a Dwende. The footage was captured by a man who was out late one night speaking with his partner on the phone. As he walked along the path, something caught his attention on the left side. It was a small, dark figure, vaguely humanoid in shape. Curious but cautious, he moved forward. That's when the creature moved too, confirming it wasn't just a shadow or object. It was small, perhaps only a couple of feet tall, and had an eerie humanoid appearance. The man's instincts kicked in, and he bolted down the path in fear. When he finally gathered enough courage to glance behind him, the creature had completely disappeared. Was this an actual sighting of a Dwende, or was it something else?
Amor, 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 amor.
Shadow being.
Hay algo ahí. Amor, no.
A man and his neighbors had been hearing strange and bizarre sounds at night. While they'd become accustomed to hearing these sounds, it didn't sound like any animal they knew. This both frightened and intrigued them, but no one was going to risk their lives to find out what it was, until our man filming did. In the dark, he could see something move, albeit it was very dark, so he couldn't really see its full form. By some stroke of luck, he was able to take some pictures, and after working on them for a bit, they came out a tad clearer. But what he had captured was unclear. He uploaded the captures online, and many opinions came up. Some thought he'd captured a raptor, which is a small to medium-sized bipedal theropod known for its sharp claws, agility, and carnivorous nature. Some also thought it looked more like a terror bird, which is a large, flightless predatory bird from the Cenozoic era, known for its powerful beak, strong legs, and ability to chase down prey in prehistoric ecosystems. The thing with these two suggestions is that they are extinct. This hasn't, however, stopped some from thinking and believing this is the real deal. There's a popular belief among some paranormals that dinosaurs may not be as extinct as we thought, and may just be hiding within the hollow earth and resurfacing once in a while. Wild, I know, but do you have another explanation for this?
So this USB cable right here cost me over 350,000 naira. The question is why? This is just an ordinary cable that you can plug into your iPhone and it charges the phone. But this is not just an ordinary USB cable. This is actually a hacking tool.
Have you ever borrowed a phone charging cable? You might want to think twice before doing it again. A new type of USB cable has surfaced, and it poses a serious security risk. This innocent-looking cable has an inbuilt memory chip and functions as a hacking tool. When you plug it into your phone to charge, your device powers up as expected, but that's not all. Unbeknownst to you, the person who gave you the cable can gain unauthorized access to your phone. They can retrieve sensitive data, passwords, and other personal information without you ever realizing it. Originally, this type of cable was reportedly used by the NSA as part of their high-level surveillance operations. However, after an internal memo was leaked, the technology made its way into the mainstream, where it can now be exploited by cybercriminals. So always be cautious about those cables you are using. Carry your own charging equipment whenever you go out to avoid falling victim to this sneaky method of hacking.
And these cables come in all forms, type A, type C, even lightning like this one. And here's the funny thing, it works on both iOS and Android seamlessly.
Do you trust self-driving cars? If your answer was no, then it might interest you to know that there are some using the feature on their Teslas.
There's no way it doesn't see the 4 flashing lights. Yes, it was foggy, but you could still see the lights. And I was like, it's going to stop. It's going to stop.
This clip was recorded by a Tesla owner who had left his car in full self-driving mode, and it shows the moment a Tesla vehicle failed to stop for a moving train ahead of them. The whole thing is crazy because if the man hadn't manually applied the brakes, the vehicle would have run into the train. Yes, it was foggy, but he believes the car should still have picked the train up, yet it didn't. Fortunately, he survived, but it's got us wondering, can we really trust our self-driving cars at this point in time?
There's no way it doesn't see the 4 flashing lights. Yes, it was foggy, but you could still see the lights. And I was like, it's going to stop. It's going to stop.
Stepping away from strange and bizarre-looking animals, let's take a look at strange or gifted humans, as some like to call them.
Wait, is your foot turned around or is your shoe backwards? That's not real.
Have you seen anyone's limbs move like that? Freaky, right? And don't pause the video to try it. I have a cousin who I've seen do this and more, and believe me when I tell you it's not all discipline and training. Most often, people who do this are double-jointed. These unfamiliar double-jointed individuals, or those with joint hypermobility, can move their joints into positions that are unusual or extreme compared to the average range of motion. This flexibility is often due to genetic factors affecting the ligaments, tendons, and connective tissues, making them more elastic. While many people with joint hypermobility can perform impressive feats and may experience no adverse effects, some may suffer from joint pain, instability, or conditions like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which involves more significant issues with connective tissue. Although generally benign, hypermobility can sometimes lead to an increased risk of injuries and dislocations. So even though they have a special condition that allows them to do all that, they are still prone to injuries. How much more you with ordinary joints? Don't ever try this.
That's not real.
A young woman was out one snowy night, walking alone around the reservation when something chilling happened. Take a listen. What is that? A loud, piercing scream echoed through the area, sharp enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. The sound resonated, cutting through the cold, silent night. She was completely alone, and it had just snowed heavily, meaning most people were likely tucked away in the warmth of their homes. So she panned her camera around, trying to find the source of the scream, but there was nothing in sight, just darkness and snow-covered ground. This eerie event has left people in a frenzy, speculating about what could have caused the sound. Some believe it might be a skinwalker, others suggest it could be a banshee. So what do you think it is? Some games aren't for the faint of heart, and this footage might just prove it. Two girls decided to play a light-hearted race game involving an elevator. One of them left her phone recording inside the elevator while they both ran down the stairs trying to meet the elevator on the lower floor before it arrived. The game seemed simple enough, but what happened next was anything but ordinary. By the time the elevator reached the lower floor, the girls were still nowhere in sight. The elevator doors opened and closed again. The strange thing, there were no sounds around, no buttons being pressed. It was just the elevator moving as if it had a mind of its own. Then, things took an eerie turn. As the doors continued their strange behavior, a woman's voice could be faintly heard coming from inside the empty elevator. The words were unclear, but the presence of a voice where there should have been silence was chilling. Moments later, the two girls finally appeared. What do you think happened? Our next footage was taken from the dark side of the moon.
Found in the 3-mile-long ancient craft on the back dark side of our moon.
So what is the discussion in detail back in 1976 between you and Commander Rutledge about this extraordinarily beautiful Polynesian-looking preserved female in one of the cockpit chairs?
Neither of us could understand how could she possibly be that well preserved.
And what is it that you're looking at first?
Her skin was all intact, and she was wearing clothing, a dress of some sort, possibly a jumpsuit type of thing. And it seemed to be very much intact, no deterioration at all to speak of.
Researchers who visited the moon years ago discovered a peculiar and extraordinary sight. A spacecraft with a woman strapped into one of the chairs in the cockpit. She's a beautiful woman, unmistakably of African descent, and her body is remarkably well preserved. She has a distinct protrusion on her forehead. According to the reports, she was wearing a jumpsuit and initially had medals connected to her face in a manner that suggested they were linked to her brain, possibly to control the spacecraft. The medals were later removed, but their presence hints at a form of technology far more advanced than we have today, yet it appears ancient. This intriguing discovery has led to many speculations and theories about who she was and the civilization she belonged to. The researchers who found her have referred to her as the Black Mona Lisa of the moon, owing to her enigmatic presence and the mystery surrounding her. I even felt shy to bring this up to Julius, but once I did, he only laughed. The laugh was so sarcastic it hurt my soul. You know what? Let's just move on to the next clip.
Neither of us could understand how could she possibly be that well preserved. Her skin was all intact, and she was wearing clothing, a dress of some sort, possibly a jumpsuit type of thing. And it seemed to be very much intact, no deterioration at all to speak of.
So I see this straw moving around. I'm just sitting here at the school, getting ready for class, and this straw is just moving back and forth, and I'm like, what the hell? There's a fucking ghost in here or what?
I've seen and shared a lot of strange things, but if anyone told me I was going to be showing you guys a clip of a straw moving by itself today, I would have laughed. But then again, here we are. This man was allegedly waiting for his kids at school when he noticed the straw moving around in the cup. He started recording and was wondering if it was a ghost. Personally, I find that funny. But do tell me something. Would you drink this after the straw stops moving around, or would you throw it out so the ghost can go drink it since it likes it so much? Let me know in the comment section. Who knows, I might just send one of you to test your resolve.
Getting ready for class, and this straw is just moving back and forth, and I'm like, what the hell? There's a fucking ghost in here or what?
Our next clip takes us all the way to Russia, where we're introduced to a rather unexpected and unusual sight. Take a look.
Дети мои, смотрите, какую скульптуру нашла.
And yes, that's an alleged real-life UFO. It's rumored to have crash-landed while the individuals who recorded the clip were exploring the area. The design, I must say, looks impressive and realistic, but, well, it does look a little too small for what I'd expect a UFO to be. I know what you're thinking. Why didn't this go viral? Well, the answer, according to the uploader, is simple. The government. The military allegedly got there a few minutes after the crash, forced them out of the site, and started censoring their posts. Given what we know about Russia, that's like getting a slap on the wrist if this is true. I'd expect a more brutal response, such as, permanently silencing them. But perhaps Russia isn't as brutal as we might think. Anyway, do you think this is real, or is someone just trying to get their 5 minutes of fame?
Дети мои, смотрите, какую скульптуру нашла.
You guys hear that? Something out there.
Hey, what the is that?
A group of men went out in the woods late one night to hunt. As they parked their car at the tree line and prepared to step out, they were met with an unexpected and chilling sound. From deep within the forest came a loud guttural growl resonating through the trees. The sound was so intense that it froze them in their tracks. Rather than pressing forward, they decided to stay put, unsure of what might be out there. One of the men pulled out his phone and began recording, hoping to capture any movement or clue about the creature making the noise. While nothing was spotted, the sound itself left the men convinced that this was no ordinary animal. They believed the growl came from a Bigfoot, a warning to stay out of its territory. Could this really be a Bigfoot guarding its domain, or could it be an elusive predator native to the area? What do you think?
Hey, what the are you? Something pissed off out there.
Remember when we talked about the potential for scientists to record our dreams like movies? Well, it turns out there's more to that story than we might have imagined. A neurological tech company called REM Space has developed technology that could allow two people to communicate directly within their dreams. Here's how it supposedly works. Using specialized equipment, REM Space can induce lucid dreaming in both individuals, meaning that each person will be fully aware they're dreaming and, incredibly, have control over their actions within the dream. Then they connect via earbuds designed to transmit thoughts and communications from one dreamer to the other. The technology, still in experimental stages, aims to enable seamless conversation and interaction in a shared dream state. Would you give it a try? The Loch Ness Monster has been a creature of legend for years, with countless sightings reported over time, though we still aren't sure if it's all a hoax or if there's some truth to it. Recently, a man in Scotland sent his drone out over a body of water and captured what he believes could be the elusive Loch Ness Monster. In the footage, a massive wave appears on the water's surface, and right at the edge of the wave, you can spot a small head briefly rising before disappearing back into the depths. While this new footage adds to the growing number of sightings, I still can't help but ask, was this Nessie, or is it just another hoax? In this video, a woman set up her phone to film herself while comparing new hair clip-ins to her natural hair, ensuring the colors matched perfectly. She was home alone with her toddler, who was quietly playing out of view on the floor. Focusing entirely on her task, she had no idea anything unusual was happening. But then, in the background, something strange happened. For a brief moment, a forehead seemed to peek out from behind her raised arm. It was subtle, almost too easy to miss. She didn't notice a thing at the time, too busy with her hair. It wasn't until later when she reviewed the footage that she spotted the eerie figure. A shiver ran down her spine. She was absolutely certain no one else was in the house. So who or what was it? Could it have been an uninvited guest, a trick of the light, or something paranormal? This footage shows a bird stuck in mid-air, giving the impression that it's frozen in time. While it appears to be gliding, its body doesn't move forward as expected, as though an unseen force is holding it in place. Some suggest natural explanations, like the bird encountering a strong headwind that matches its flying speed, creating the illusion of it being stationary. In rare cases, technical glitches in video recording equipment, such as frame rate synchronization issues, can also produce this effect. However, others see it as evidence of something more mysterious, perhaps a glitch in reality or even an unexplainable force at play. You've seen it too. What say you? Personally, I know for a fact that this is real, as I've been up on places where I've seen birds do this right in front of my eyes. I'm just saying. A subscriber recently sent in 2 fascinating and highly controversial images of clouds, and what they captured is quite wild. You know how sometimes we see shapes in the clouds that resemble animals or objects? Well, this is one of those instances, but on a much larger, more surreal scale. The first image they shared appears to show a massive cloud formation shaped like Godzilla. Yes, the infamous monster from the movies, and it's spot on. You don't even need to look twice. The second image gets even crazier. It depicts Godzilla's head with its mouth open and a bright beam shooting out from it, like its signature atomic breath. Now, I know we often talk about pareidolia, our brain's tendency to find familiar shapes in random patterns, but this one really does look uncanny. It's almost too perfect to be mere coincidence. Could the clouds be showing us something beyond the ordinary? Humans may all be made of flesh and bone, but each of us has unique features, appearances, and even traits that make us stand out. One especially rare and fascinating trait is called Tetrachromacy. Tetrachromacy is a condition that enables certain people to see significantly more colors than the average person, about 100 million more. This is because people with tetrachromacy have an extra type of cone cell in their eyes, allowing them to perceive an astonishingly rich color palette. What may look like a single shade to most could reveal itself as a whole spectrum to them. Imagine a world with endless hues where every scene, even the mundane, bursts with colors most of us will never experience. Remember the blue sphere from Manchester that was featured in our recent episode? Well, there's an update, and it's even more confusing. So, this clip was not recorded in the UK. No, it was actually recorded in Arizona on December the 1st, so not too long after Manchester. The big question on everyone's mind is, why? Nobody knows. The only connection we can make is the fact that there has been a surge in UFO sightings reported across the state. Could this sphere have something to do with the surge, or is the surge what brought the sphere there? So many questions, yet no answers. Does any of you know what might be happening here? Please feel free to share. This next one comes from a security camera at a museum in St. Petersburg, Russia, and it's nothing short of unsettling. The video shows what appears to be a humanoid figure moving about the museum. However, this is no ordinary figure. It looks like a mass of black smoke shaped like a human, eerily hovering over and around various items on the display. The smoky apparition moves fluidly, almost as if it's inspecting the artifacts before dissipating or vanishing from sight. Some believe this could be evidence of a paranormal entity, possibly a spirit tied to the museum's artifacts. What do you think? Pay attention to the clip. How many horses do you see? 2, right? Well, let's watch for a few more seconds. Boom! There's a third horse. I'm sure you didn't see that coming, did you? Now, when the clip starts playing, we see the first 2 horses approach the one filming. We can see the background, and there aren't any horses. Yet, for some odd reason, once they get to the one filming, there's a third white directly behind the black. How? Well, Aaron believes it's a glitch. Julius thinks it's either a matter of perspective or the third horse was edited in. What do I personally think? Well, I'm thinking what you're thinking, so what are you thinking? Let us know in the comments section. A cat owner recently bought cat food and noticed something extraordinary. The cat on the package was the exact replica of his own cat. The same fur color and pattern, the same eye color, every detail matched perfectly. Now, I wouldn't call this a Matrix glitch, but it's definitely shocking and trippy. Think about it. Out of all the cats in the world, what are the odds that your cat is the exact copy of the one on the food package? Well, it's not impossible. It's still fascinating to see. This coincidence can make you feel like you're in a surreal, almost magical moment. It's a reminder of how many uncanny connections exist in the world, even in the most mundane things like buying cat food.
Watch, I got my outlet right here. Okay, 183 volts. Okay, now watch this. I'm gonna plug in my phone.
Still on modern things that are dangerous to our health, what you see is a man with a device for measuring radiation. He starts off by measuring his outlet without his phone plugged in and then connects his phone, then records it.
So I got my phone plugged in. Now watch. This is how much radiation you're getting just from having your phone next to your bed. Wow.
For those who don't understand what's happening, the simplified explanation is that our phones emit radiation that's harmful to us. Leaving it on a charge while sleeping only makes the situation worse. Phone makers are aware of this danger. Apple includes the following guidance in iPhone settings. To limit RF energy exposure, consider using hands-free options like the built-in speaker, provided headphones, or similar accessories. Keep your iPhone away from your body to maintain exposure at tested levels. Cases containing metal parts may alter RF performance and affect compliance with exposure guidelines. While that sounds like great advice, is it really though? I mean, even if you're only getting the bare minimum of radiation daily, imagine what that will look like after accumulating for a year. 5 years and even 20 to 30 years. That small daily dosage can become something very lethal.
Phone radiation can damage brain cells. Poor cell phone reception. Weak bars, don't use your phone. It can give you 10,000 times more exposure.
I'm not saying this could be the cause of Alzheimer's, cancer, and so many other modern diseases that we have, but who is to say that it's not playing a role? Just think about it.
Watch, I got my outlet right here. Okay, 183 volts. Okay, now watch this. I'm gonna plug in my phone. So I got my phone plugged in. Now watch. This is how much radiation you're getting just from having your phone next to your bed.
This is rapper XXXTentacion, and during an interview he made some very thought-provoking comments. Take a listen.
If you're going to listen to an artist consistently,
and it's your favorite artist, you most definitely should understand who it is that you're looking into or listening to. There's brainwashing that gets involved in music, in the music industry, like recording things backwards and all these different things that people don't know, frequency channelings and different things like that. So you never know who you're with unless you fully dwell into them as a person.
He spoke about how the music we consume isn't just entertainment, it's a form of brainwashing, filled with subliminal messages that influence us without us even realizing it. Now, XXXTentacion is no longer with us, but many believe there was more to his passing than just a robbery gone wrong. But let's focus on something even deeper, the themes in modern rap music. Have you ever noticed that mainstream rap, especially among young black artists, often revolves around the same topics? Sex, drugs, money, and a glorified gangster lifestyle. It's almost as if there's a formula that keeps getting pushed. But why? Some theorists suggest that this is a deliberate attempt to push young black listeners towards a destructive lifestyle that ultimately leads to crime and incarceration. And who benefits from that? Well, the private prison system. More crime means more prisoners, which means more money for those who run these facilities. And here's where it gets even more suspicious. The major record labels that sign and promote these artists are often owned by wealthy white executives. So is this all just a coincidence, or is there some truth hidden behind the surface?
There's brainwashing that gets involved in music, in the music industry, like recording things backwards and all these different things that people don't know, frequency channelings and different things like that. So you never know who you're with unless you fully dwell into them as a person.
Bad people found out that we did. I don't know how, but they did, and things kind of went downhill from there.
Weird looking, right? It's not every day you see something like this, and the one who uploaded it insists that it's real. It looks like something gooey substance levitating or standing upright. Julius straight out called it fake, and for the first time I was tempted to side with him until I read the comments. Take a look at this comment. The individual insists she experienced something like this. Another claims she saw it in Miami. Another person also mentioned that he caught strange things on camera that can't be seen with the naked eye. These comments can make you feel this is certainly real. Skeptics, however, exist and find it laughable. They've attributed the whole thing to CGI and called it fake. What do you think? Who do you side with?
Bad people found out that we did. I don't know how, but they did, and things kind of...
I was sleeping, dead asleep last night. All of a sudden, I heard something rummaging through my cab. I rolled over and peeked through the window, and I swear there was like this huge thing standing there going through my stuff. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. There's no way it's a person.
Speaking of strange big guys moving around in the dark, this woman was camping out when she was woken up by noises of something or something going through her stuff. She woke up, tried to investigate, and was met with this strange, ginormous creature that escaped into the night. The logical thing to have done would have been to leave the place, but no, she wanted to get to the bottom of it. So she camped out again, this time with cameras to capture who or what was responsible for the interference of her sleep the previous night. Looks like she takes her sleep seriously. And sure enough, her cameras captured something. It was a hairy bipedal creature making its way through the woods in a manner that suggested it didn't want to be seen. But for the cameras, it would have achieved its goal. Now that she had evidence of what disturbed her sleep, she needed to put a name to it, and she uploaded it seeking opinions. Looking at this, it looks like our big guy. Is it really him, though? Hard to say. This one appears shorter than we are used to when the distance makes it hard to properly define its features. Julius thinks it's a man in a costume, but he always thinks things like that. Aaron suggests it could be a young or juvenile Bigfoot. What about you? What do you think?
And I swear there was like this huge thing standing there going through my stuff. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. There's no way it's a person. It dropped everything and scampered off into the woods behind me.
Just in case it was not clear enough, that's a dolphin in the pool where a woman's birthing a baby. If you're wondering why, I've got the answers. In Hawaii, there was a practice where women gave birth in the water alongside dolphins. The idea was that the dolphins emitted healing frequencies, creating a calming environment to help the mother have a safe and natural birth. The presence of dolphins was believed to enhance the birthing experience, reducing pain and stress for the mother through these natural vibrations. However, this type of birthing practice was eventually shut down and labeled as unsafe. While the scientific reasons might make sense to many, there are some who don't think it's as unsafe as scientists label it, since it's something that's existed for centuries. According to the man speaking, the dolphins emit frequencies that are therapeutic for the birthing mother and the baby. He even argues that if the sonar and frequencies from the dolphin are unsafe, why then do we use similar technology and scans for the baby throughout the 9 months? I get that both sides have sane arguments, but, well, let's just say this man is right. If these natural methods are beneficial like he says, why aren't they more widely accepted? Instead, we're often directed toward hospitals where medications and pain relief is standard practice. Does Big Pharma have something to do with this, or is he just making a case where there is none? I think we might need your opinion on this one, so please share your thoughts.
Dolphins support humans. There's all studies on this. This goes into the brain of a dolphin. This goes into sonar. This goes into the frequencies, ultrasounds, which they're using on mothers and things like that. They're deriving technology from whales and dolphins.
Do you think the government would intentionally want us sick and unwell? Well, before you answer, you should see this clip.
I want you to see it for yourself. You see that? I'm going to put in one finger. Trisodium phosphate.
So the man in this clip was going over some of the ingredients used in cereal and came across some rather disturbing names. The most disturbing for him was trisodium phosphate. After picking it out, he mentions that no one is going to eat cereal again after seeing what that ingredient is all about. He quickly moves to Home Depot, where we see it being used in strong cleaning chemicals. This naturally got me doing some research, and I discovered that trisodium phosphate, or TSP for short, is added to some cereals as a food-grade additive to regulate acidity, preventing clumping and maintaining texture. The FDA considers it generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, at the low levels used in food. It helps cereals stay crisp in milk and provides shelf stability, making it a common ingredient in many processed foods. Excessive phosphate intake from multiple processed foods, however, may contribute to kidney strain, weakened bones, and cardiovascular issues, particularly in individuals with kidney disease. So why take something when it's poisonous, and who determines what safe quantities are? And isn't it common sense to not have kids take in poisonous stuff? Well, maybe I'm overthinking it, I don't know. Anyway, our conspiracy theorist mentions that Big Pharma and the like have a plan to keep us sick so they can keep making money off of us. Sounds crazy, I know, but what do you guys think?
I want you to see it for yourself. You see that? I'm going to put in one finger. Trisodium phosphate.
Se siguen escuchando un montón de ruido. Y se escuchan por todo el patio encima. No es algo que, pasó en un solo lugar. Pero no sé. Ay, ¿qué fue eso?
A woman was out late one evening, having just finished running some errands and preparing to settle in for the night. As she made her way back inside, she couldn't shake a strange feeling that something was off. The atmosphere around her felt unusually tense. So she decided to pull out her phone and start filming, hoping to capture whatever might be making her so uncomfortable. In the background, you can hear her dog barking, a clear sign that even the animal sensed something wasn't right. As she panned the camera around her surroundings, something startled her. In a moment of panic, she rushed back inside the house. But what had spooked her so much? Let's take another look at the footage. There it was. Standing in the corner of the building, barely visible in the dim light, was a dark figure. It appeared to be facing her, silently watching. Her instincts had been right all along. But what could that figure be?
Pero no sé. ¿Qué fue eso?
I'm here at the balcony in Joltin. I see the weirdest thing upstairs. It's not a glitch in my phone, huh? I'm zooming in. It's shining, doing something.
This next footage from Thailand was captured in May. A man staying in Phuket was looking out from his hotel window when he spotted something floating above one of the tallest buildings in the city. The object was oddly shaped, glowing brightly, and appeared to be emitting different colors, shifting between them almost as if pulsing with energy. Naturally, the first thing that comes to mind for many viewers is the possibility of a UFO. Could this be another case of extraterrestrial activity, or is there a more earthly explanation for what was seen? What do you think it is?
I'm here at the balcony in Joltin. I see the weirdest thing upstairs. It's not a glitch in my phone, huh? I'm zooming in. It's shining, doing something. And as far as
Sears today. Let me show you something that's going to blow your mind. How do you deny this proof? Sears. Everybody knows that these stores don't exist anymore throughout the entire country. There's not a single one. I'm going to show you inside a Sears for the first time as a time traveler.
Speaking of things that may be difficult to understand, take a good look at this clip. It was sent in by a man who claims to have traveled back in time to a Sears shop. Looking at the clip, we see items that belong in the past, maybe the 80s or 90s, yet somehow he's actually there. For many, this will be a sign that he actually did travel back in time. In fact, many in the comments section of his original post seem to think so. But is this really the case? Well, no. After a little research, I discovered that this might actually be a Sears shirt in Mexico. Also, there was a Bluey shirt in the items on display. The thing with that is that Bluey is a show that started in 2018. There's no way anyone could have traveled to the 80s and still found them. This is definitely a hoax, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Anyway, what do you think?
I mean, here we are, guys, at Sears Appliance and Clothing. I'm going to show you guys inside Sears. Okay, I'm inside the store, guys. As you can tell, here are all their clothes. All their clothes are here. Here's all their outdoorsy stuff, guys. More clothes. So much clothes, guys.
The sky is blue, and I see you.
Next, we got a family that decided to play games with the supernatural and got, strange results. It started with the youngest child playing a game that involved uttering some words. For my sake, I'm not going to say them just in case the effects are true. So she says the words and then screams. Apparently, she sees something that's not captured on camera. Her parents hear the commotion and run to her. After finding out what happened, they banned her from playing the game. Being the child that she is, however, she keeps playing it, and her big sister decides to get involved. Both sisters play the game, but nothing happens until the big sister has the whole house to herself. While she was alone, she went from room to room repeating the words until she was finally in her own room. Just when it looks like the whole game is about to be declared a sham by her, she utters the words in her room, and the chandelier that has always been very secure somehow comes down the moment she finishes her recitations. This scared the living daylights out of her. She knows accidents can happen and things like chandeliers can come off, but why did it come off? After the chant or recital, this scared her, and when she uploaded it, some chastised her for playing with the supernatural, whereas others couldn't wait to try it for themselves. If you're part of the latter, I advise you not to, because, well, who knows what you could unleash upon your life and that of your loved ones. Anyway, on to the next.
The sky is blue, and I see you.
Over the years, The Simpsons has gained a reputation for making eerily accurate predictions, some of which have actually come true. Now, let's take a look at one of them. In this episode, Lisa discovers skeletal remains buried underground, but as she brushes off the dust, she realizes that these aren't just human remains, the skeleton has wings. Now here's where things get freaky. In real life, skeletal remains were discovered, and guess what? It had wings too. Some say this is just another wild coincidence, while others believe it's something much more deep. There's a theory that The Simpsons doesn't predict the future, but rather that the world is a stage set by the elites with a carefully controlled script where movies and shows are used to subtly foreshadow their plans. Sounds crazy, I know, but how else can we explain the many coincidences from just one show? Also, do you think the video discovery is real? This image was shared from Atlantic City, New Jersey on January the 30th. It shows a strange blue light in the sky, and when zoomed in, it appears to be a massive glowing blue orb with blurred lines and circular patterns around it. Now the big question, could this be a UAP? It definitely has that eerie otherworldly look to it. Some might argue it's just a lens flare or some atmospheric phenomenon, but that structured shape makes it seem like something more. Sometimes it's good to mind our own business, but other times not doing so could help save another's life. This clip was recorded by a lady called Diana. She and her family woke up one day to see lots of police around a trailer that was not far from them. They actually had a neighbor living in it. It was when they saw the police that they realized they hadn't seen him in a while. The police were actually there for welfare checks. After a few minutes, they made it into the trailer, and that's when it became apparent that the individual in the trailer had passed on. This was, of course, heartbreaking. Diana was actually recording the whole thing, and she did a great job with what she had. While going over the clips she recorded, she noticed something. There was a shadow around the police car that seemingly vanished when the policeman went past it. That's not normal, is it? It felt like it was a person at first, but it just vanished just like that. This has got Diana thinking when she watched the clip she recorded because, well, this shouldn't have been possible. Despite this unusual occurrence, Diana and her dad visited the trailer after some days. They wanted to check it out. While there and exploring the trailer, a lifeless crow suddenly falls from the ceiling inside the trailer. It startled them and had Diana running out. They go back in again. While exploring, a child's toy suddenly goes off, which startles Diana. While looking around, they see a child's painting on the fridge, and she asks if the man had a kid. I know what you're thinking. Why is that important? Well, remember the figure Diana saw earlier. Remember it was a smaller shadow. She suspects that this man's kid may have passed on, and somehow its ghost was hanging around the man's trailer when the police came around. That to her would explain how it vanished so fast. When you think about it, it does make sense, but is that what really happened? I'll let you be the judge of that.
Whoa. Wait a minute. Oh, Jesus. Wait, did this guy have a kid? What is this?
Yeah, this kid's not a cute, like, I don't know, before. A long time ago.
This was uploaded online by a concerned individual who believes they may have a skinwalker lurking around their property. I mean, the individual does make some weird and rather strange sounds while approaching the pool. Some in the paranormal community felt this was in no way a true skinwalker. Many felt it was simply a thirsty drunk. Others also felt we were dealing with something not human, say a bull with horns. It's not surprising there are many opinions as the clip is very dark. Anyway, take a good look at the clip and let me know what you think. Now this one is interesting. The footage shows these eerie green lights in the sky with what looks like a laser beam pointing directly down on a building. The first thought that comes to mind? UFO. That's what a lot of people would say, especially with how mysterious and unnatural the scene looks. But then again, we have to consider that this could be some kind of advanced human technology, maybe a research experiment, military testing, or even a high-tech scanning system. Still, something about it feels off. The way the beam is so precise, the glow in the sky, it doesn't exactly scream normal, does it? But what do you think? Here we have some bizarre footage of strange objects in the sky. They appear to be flat and round, almost like discs, and they light up in sequence, creating an eerie, otherworldly display. Now, what exactly are we looking at? Some believe this is just a drone light show, something we've seen more of in recent years as drone technology advances. Others, however, are convinced that this is a possible UFO sighting. But then again, in this age of AI-generated content, can we even trust what we see anymore? I'll let you answer that. Have you ever met a 7-foot humanoid that has bird-like features? No? Well, this man has. He kept waking up at night feeling like there was something or someone in the room with him. It wasn't until he woke up at 3:33, finally, that he saw something he never thought his eyes would see. A 7-foot man staring down at him. At least that's what he initially thought, but the more he looked at the man, the more he realized that there was more to him, especially his face. It looked like instead of the head of a human, he had that of a bird, and oh, it was also blue. Yeah, blue, so there's that. You'd think something like this would scare the man and have him sweating blood, but that's not what he said happened. Instead, he felt peace, love, and kindness whilst the creature was with him. In his own words, it was overwhelming peace. Crazy, right? Yeah, this will join the list of things I don't think I could ever understand.
Blue like human with the features that resembled a bird. It wasn't a full bird, but I'm literally like out of breath thinking about this. And I wasn't scared, but the only thing I can explain is nothing was said, but I had the feeling of kindness, love, except it was just an overwhelming sense of peace.
Still on strange captures, take a good look at this one. These were allegedly seen by individuals in both the States and in Canada. These particular clips are from different individuals in Canada, and they show similar things. Strange, vibrant lights moving throughout the night sky. Naturally, many who saw this concluded they were aliens. They believe spaceships may have been going through the atmosphere at some point in the night without being cloaked. A few others also felt like this was all AI and not real. Your eyes have seen them. What do your heart and mind tell you?
Yo, what is that?
I'm here. Where am I now? Look, there I am, right there.
Look, you see that? You see that?
A young man was working a shift at a supermarket when strange things started to happen. First, a box dropped to the ground without being interacted with. When that happened, he went on a witch hunt to see if he could find the person or entity responsible. He couldn't explain it, but there was this ominous feeling that had overtaken him. It made him lash out and cuss at whatever it was to come out. No matter what he did, the spirit or being would not show up, but it didn't make its presence known until it pulled his hair. No one told him to run. He had to consult the security cameras to make sure he was not imagining the whole thing, and surely enough, he was not. It actually happened. He uploaded it online seeking answers. While the paranormal community was very interested in finding out what it was, they all kept telling him that you don't cuss out paranormal beings or things you don't understand. They apparently don't like that. Anyway, what do you guys think of this?
Look, there I am right there. Look, you see that? You see that?
This man was out riding his ATV through some shallow water when he suddenly noticed something moving ahead of him. At first, he didn't think much of it, but as he got closer, he stopped in his tracks. Now, let's take a look at what he saw. There, crossing the water, was a tall figure covered in brown fur. It moved with long strides, seemingly unbothered by the water. Even the person filming had seen it and was asking the guy what it was. That definitely looks like a Bigfoot right there. But what do you think? Could this really be proof of the legendary creature or just another case of mistaken identity?
What was that?
You know how we've always shared clips of strange noises coming from underground? Well, this one's not like that. This one actually happened in someone's home, and it's coming from one of the rooms upstairs. They were home when they began to hear the commotion happening up there, but there was not supposed to be anyone at home besides them. They go upstairs to see the door constantly slamming itself, and they record the whole thing. Finally, when they made their way to the room, they actually realized that there was no one in the room, and this made them feel the house, or at least that particular part of the house, is haunted. What do you think? Not sure if you've seen this already, but on the 14th of April 2025, pop star Katy Perry joined Blue Origin's NS-31 mission alongside an all-female crew that included journalist Gayle King, aerospace engineer Aisha Bao, activist Amanda Nguyen, producer Carrie Ann Flynn, and philanthropist Lawrence Sanchez. The suborbital flight lasted over just 10 minutes and was described as a major step forward for women in space. God, give me a break. During this brief trip to the edge of space, Perry floated in microgravity while singing "What a Wonderful World," holding a daisy as a tribute to her daughter Daisy. The crew wore sleek, stylish outfits instead of traditional astronaut suits and stepped out after the flight was looking polished and camera-ready. It was celebrated as a powerful mix of science, inspiration, and pop culture, with headlines calling it a moment to remember, but not everyone bought the hype. Some people started questioning how real the mission really was. Why were they in full makeup that looked untouched after weightlessness? Why designer suits and not the usual high-tech space gear? A few even claimed the people in the capsule were mannequins, pointing to awkward movements and limited camera views during the flight. And while the event was packed with media buzz, critics noticed a lack of detailed flight data and live technical coverage. These are all things that are seldom missing from expeditions like this. This left many with just one question. Was this a genuine leap in space exploration? God. Oh dear. Or just a carefully staged show that meant to look like one? At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what really happens up there. I think you can tell from my sarcasm. I personally think it's all just a big bunch of crap. Personally, with everything we know, I'm starting to be a bit skeptical. So, what do you guys think? Step forward for women. Good God Almighty. Emily Pankhurst will be rolling in her grave.
Got it? 1, 2, 3. Take up space!
Tamir's in space!
Flynn, behind you. Look right behind you. It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, behind you. Look
Flynn, I gotcha. I gotcha, Flynn.
Gotcha. Proud of you, Flynn. Flynn, can I get down? Oh, the moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
Wow, look at the blue line.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goddess.
Wow.
Oh my That's our pink moon. Okay.
A man was filming while he and his toddler entered an elevator. As soon as they stepped inside, his toddler said, "The boy is in here." At first, the father thought it was just his son's imagination. You know how kids can be. But then, as the little boy leaned against the elevator wall, a handprint appeared behind him. The father caught everything on camera and even asked his son to turn and look, but the print vanished almost instantaneously. After rewatching the footage, the man became convinced that his son might have seen a ghost or something supernatural, and the handprint belonged to whatever it was. What do you think?
Bro, right above you. What is that? On the wall. No, do you see that? What?
Having Wi-Fi at home is so convenient, but do you know it can be used to map your home and construct a real-time 3D pose estimation? Surprisingly, Wi-Fi signals can be used for 3D pose estimation by analyzing how signals bounce off and interact with objects and human bodies in a given environment. Instead of relying on cameras, Wi-Fi-based pose estimation uses radio frequency signals to detect movement and reconstruct a subject's posture in real time. This method is particularly useful in low-light conditions, privacy-sensitive areas, or places where cameras are impractical. So basically, anyone can hack into your Wi-Fi system and use your signals from the system to map out your entire home and plan an attack if they wanted to. Technology is great, but it's parts like these that scare me.
They had, a camera looking at a space with people in it. That's sort of like coming in from one eye. The other eye is the radio signals, so sonar from the Wi-Fi router. And they just learned to predict, this is where the human beings are. Then they took away the camera. So all the AI had was the language of radio signals bouncing around a room. And this is what they're able to reconstruct. Real-time 3D pose estimation, right?
Imagine waking up from bed like this. This was allegedly recorded by a camera set up in the home of the one we see in the clip. According to him, he'd been having paranormal experiences and no one seemed to believe him. He actually set up the camera days prior, but nothing spectacular happened until this one. Many who saw this asked him to leave his phone, but not everyone believes the story. Some believe the whole thing is a staged prank. Looking at how bad the whole thing is, I want to believe this is a prank because, well, the last thing anyone wants is a visitation from whatever did that to the young man in the clip. In fact, well, let's move on to the next clip. I don't want this in my thoughts when I go to sleep. So, I've been looking at this clip over and over and over again and again. The reason, well, it's pretty simple. I've been trying to understand what I'm looking at, and it's not going to go so well. The individual who uploaded this clip believes this is the fossilized remains of a giant. Looking at it, it's not so surprising she thinks, which can make sense, but not sure fossils are supposed to look like this. I could be wrong, but let's hear your thoughts on this one. What do you think?
Vea. Está así, Te está espiando, Vea.
Moving on from these conspiracies, let's look at this clip uploaded by a man known as Xavier, who was staying in a hotel with his family.
Se va a suicidar.
It was supposed to be a beautiful night, but the session was interrupted by this scene.
Esto es porque te ha visto guapa y quiere ligar contigo.
While preparing to join her husband, the wife noticed that there was someone standing on the roof close to them. Obviously shaken, she mentions to her husband, who asks her to turn off the lights so they can see the man better. She does so, and they keep watching. At first, she feared he was someone out to commit suicide, but that's not what happens. The man stands for a while and then leaves. They uploaded it online, asking for people's opinion on what happened. Some said that the man came up there to get away from his nagging wife, whereas others felt he wanted to harm himself but changed his mind. The paranormal community, however, feels differently. They feel there is something ominous driving the man. Looking at the clip and how chill the man was, I can't blame them for thinking so, but you also saw the clip, so what do you think was happening here?
No. Déjalo.
¿Pero qué fas?
Pero que dejes de abrir. No.
¿Qué coño es a diario?
Que no está fumando ni nada, se va a suicidar,
Se va a suicidar.
Did you know that your lights might actually be messing with you? Take a look at this. Fluorescent lights in classrooms have been linked to kids being diagnosed with ADD and ADHD. These lights are at a frequency that makes it hard to focus, leading to attention issues and restlessness in students. But a doctor experimented by placing LED sheets over the fluorescent lights, and guess what? The kids could focus better. Their ability to study improved almost instantly. Sounds like a simple fix, right? Well, not so fast. Even LED lights have their downsides. Some people report that they cause headaches and eye strain over time. It's crazy how one solution can create a whole new problem. But you gotta wonder. We already spoke about Wi-Fi signals and the danger associated with them, then mobile phones, and now light. Is there any human creation that's not negatively affecting us or slowly killing us?
And they are being impacted by the fluorescent bulbs, which are in the school, and then they are diagnosed with ADD and ADHD. LEDs are even worse than fluorescent because of the radio frequencies and their streetlights.
Next, we got a post from one Sammy Robles, who recently shared a story that felt like something out of a sci-fi movie. He mentioned an Instagram tag, #UFO5537, and said he'd captured a high-definition photograph of something unusual, something that still gives him chills. The image was taken with a semi-professional camera, and according to him, everything about the moment was calm and ordinary. Until it wasn't. He said the photograph revealed stunning detail of an object in the sky, something he and many others in Chiapas, Mexico couldn't quite explain. Locals talked about it. Some believed it, others didn't know what to think. You probably wouldn't believe it either, Sammy had admittedly said, explaining that when he showed the photo, people often assumed it was digitally altered, but he was adamant. I don't even know how to use Photoshop. he said with a kind of weary honesty. What makes the whole thing even more bizarre is that the sighting happened during a casual photo shoot at a sports facility. Sammy wasn't looking for UFOs, he was just trying to get some good shots of a model. The sky wasn't even part of the plan. But then the model looked up, pointed, and said she saw a plane. The only problem, it wasn't moving and it was huge. Even without focusing directly on it, Sammy managed to snap a clear photograph. He described it as calm, still, and unsettling. They both felt it, the weird tension in the air. Confused and slightly shaken, they decided not to dwell on it and continue with the session. But by the time they looked back, the object had vanished. He later traced the exact location to a hill in Bochil, Chiapas, and dated the event to August the 29th, 2023. Sammy confessed that he hadn't shared the image publicly yet, not because he didn't want to, but because life's got in the way. "You're actually the first person I've told," he said. There was something about the way he said it, half relieved, half haunted, that made you wonder, what exactly did he capture that day, and why does it feel like the sky has let him in on a secret it was not supposed to reveal? So someone sent us the link to this video asking if we could see the hand pulling the man into the grave for the coffin. I've watched the clip over and over and over, but I'm not sure that I'm seeing the hand in question. Personally, I feel he tripped because he was laughing at the end. If a hand really pulled him in, he would have felt it and been panicking. However, that's not the case here. Some members of the paranormal community, however, believe a hand really did pull him in, and a few believe he might have tripped. In fact, some already started making jokes, and I found this one particularly funny. Tell me it's not funny. Anyway, if I have a weird sense of humor, I apologize. If you can, however, see the hand, please feel free to let us know in the comments section. Maybe only some gifted can see this hand in question.
Oh, that's a fairy. I'm recording this with an iPhone. I'm here with my family.
Are fairies real? This is a question we've tried to answer several times on this channel. And today's clip is reminding us that we haven't found a definitive answer. A lady was out with her friends when she noticed this creature moving a few meters from her. She was fast enough to pick up her camera and record the whole thing. Convinced she'd captured a fairy on camera, she uploaded the clip, soliciting the opinions of others. The creature appears whitish and appears to be floating or moving around in this ethereal way you'd typically associate with ghosts. Some who saw the clip have stated that it's probably the younger version of fairies we've seen. Some members of my team, however, are leaning towards it being AI. And you've seen the clip, so what do you think?
It's a fairy. I'm recording this with an iPhone. I'm here with my family on a vacation. Not on a vacation. I'm just here because of my graduation. I just graduated and I'm seeing...
Take a look at this. The first ever color recording of plasma inside a fusion reactor. What you're seeing is footage from the tokamak fusion reactor captured on a high-speed camera shooting at 16,000 frames per second. This is the kind of sight most of us will never see with the naked eye. Plasma swirling, bending, and moving in real time. Seeing this in full color makes the entire process feel surreal. It looks less like science, and more like a cosmic phenomenon trapped inside a machine. This is groundbreaking technology, and if reactors like this ever reach full stability, it could change everything. From energy consumption to the way our entire world functions, we're talking about virtually limitless clean energy, the kind that could power entire cities without the pollution or waste we deal with today. Pretty incredible, right? Anyway, with that, we end today's episode. Thanks for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips and videos you think you should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. Boy, we can't wait to receive what you have. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Now do us a favor and share this video. We want things to go viral. We want every video to go viral. We want the channel to go viral. So do us a favor, give us some love, because we love you. See you next time.